Hey now, everybody, it's the Rob from Kiss 106 and 103gbfrocks.com. Here with my tag team partner in podcasting, your pervy uncle and mine, Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning. When you say pervy Jerry from State College, people may get the wrong idea. Don't go.
Yes,
different Jerry.
He's not the perviest Jerry from State College, Pennsylvania. That much is for sure.
I'm a distant second.
A far distant second. You are the most heroic Jerry from State College, I think, though.
Who knew we were going to be cracking Sandusky jokes right out of the gate?
Also the best father, Jerry from State College.
I'm trying my best, pal. But I'm afraid I'm raising a vegetarian. I feel like that's going to happen.
Really?
Man, it could go either way. It's going to be Allie. We took the kids to a rodeo on Friday because I work for a country station and we live in Redneck City. So, we went to a rodeo and the kids were having fun with it. They didn't mind the horses bucking people off and all that business and the cowboy boots, and that was great. But then it got to steer wrestling. Did you ever hear of steer wrestling?
Not exactly, but I think I can put together what it means.
They let a cow with horns, but it's not big yet, takes off, and then a cowboy on a horse takes off beside it, jumps off the horse, does a running bulldog on the cow, headlocks it, takes it to the ground, then grabs the horns and twists its neck to roll it over.
Okay.
And it's weird. It's hard. It's kind of hard to watch. It really is. It looks more violent than I think that it probably is. Allison just started crying.
All right, here.
She couldn't handle it. And the best part was she was like, Dad, I don't like how cruel they are to these cows. Can we go get some chicken tenders? And I just...
Let me intervene for just a second, because I'm married to a vegetarian and I know how annoying that can be.
Oh my.
And then the other thing is, so I love eating meat and I'm totally cool with eating meat and all that stuff. I don't like that stuff. I don't like the mistreatment of animals. I'm not cool with rodeo stuff. I don't listen, if a circus is mistreating animals, I feel like, yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to use them. And the rodeo stuff and the bulls, and yeah, I'll pass on all that stuff.
For some reason, riding a horse or riding a bull doesn't bother me at all. But the other stuff was gross to me, and the circus has gotten gross to me too, because they're just come see our tiger, but your tiger is super fat and old and not happy, and I don't want to be part of this sadness parade. I don't need this. Yeah, but I thought it was ironic that Allie was crying over the treatment of the cows when she ate a steak for dinner.
But that's a difference to me, though. There's a difference there.
It's because you don't see it. You just it's just meat in a wrapper, and you're like, oh, this is great. You didn't see the whole process.
Well, and also, I think I should be a bit more worried about raising a vegetarian than you, because I'm just hoping my son gets to try meat at some point.
Well, listen, that's up to you, man.
It's up to us.
That's up to you. Start making bacon in the house. Bacon will break anybody. I'm telling you, if you were going to hunt humans, bacon would be what you used.
Maybe we should try that sometime.
And nudie mags.
I don't even know if they make mags anymore.
I don't think they make mags.
I didn't have to, but I chose to get rid of all of mine.
I never had nudie mags.
Well, you did once, because you gave me one.
Oh, I guess I did, didn't I?
You did for at least a little bit.
And then we gave you that plastic P word.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Anyways, how about wrestling?
So I was thinking, you said you can't go tomorrow or Friday, right?
I can't.
So we were going to cover SmackDown and do predictions in one episode, but I'm almost wondering if SmackDown isn't even worth recapping and maybe just jumping into predictions.
It's funny. I saw people talking about how great the Moment of Bliss was, and it wasn't that did nothing for me. Ooh, Alexa Bliss was shooting on Bayley. I had no interest. SmackDown has unfortunately gotten to the point where missing it doesn't mean anything.
Plus, it's like now with this brand split kind of obsolete. I mean, it's almost safe to say that you're missing a lot of B stuff.
I mean, the matchups were pretty cool, but story-wise, nothing really changed. Like, I didn't mind the Miz match that we got to see, and I liked the main event was pretty cool. You have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins, but like, it didn't get us anywhere. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like Monday took us, a lot closer to where we needed to get to for Sunday, but yesterday did not.
And I feel like you need to look no further than the Firefly Funhouse if you want to see where they're prioritizing SmackDown Live anymore. Because they're taking 3 minutes of that show and they're showing something that everybody already saw on Raw, already saw on YouTube, already talked about all day, and they're showing it again. So
they've been doing that every week, though.
Well, they have been, but it's telling me that, like, while SmackDown Live may not be a recap show, they're also not looking at it as like equal to the A show.
It does seem to be getting second billing the more obsolete the brand separation becomes.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that if Bray Wyatt doesn't show up at Stomping Ground or any pay-per-view, Bray Wyatt's debut will not be on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. His debut will be on Raw. And I think that's how it's going to go from here on in.
Well, you know what? They saved Goldberg for SmackDown, but I can't think of many other examples when they've done big things like that.
Sure. They did do Goldberg on SmackDown, but I liked how they did that, actually, because Raw was The Undertaker, and then SmackDown was the rebuttal that also had The Undertaker. So that was cool.
Yeah. Let's jump into the predictions. Might as well. Really not much to cover. Sorry if you were really excited for a SmackDown recap, but we're going to jump right into predictions, I think. Let's do that.
Let's just jump right into it. I have 9 matches. You have 9 matches.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel a tiebreaker could be who we think the special guest referee is going to be.
I suppose.
Because I'm afraid we're going to need a tiebreaker. I'm afraid that we're just right down the row, you and me.
I feel that if we need a tiebreaker, our tiebreaker would be the same.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Let's jump into it and see what happens.
All right.
Is it safe to say this? I mean, you kind of explained this yesterday. I agree. This does not look like a great show on Sunday.
Does look like a great show, and everything that I'm reading about it, I guess they're suffering big time ticket-wise. In fact, the WWE is doing something they either have never done before or haven't done in a very, very long time. And I checked today. I double-checked it. I went to Ticketmaster, and I looked. This show is not selling at all. There are a lot of tickets still available in the Golden Circle, like around ringside. There are still tickets available, and a ton of them in the seats up above that. They are doing.
Where is it? Seattle?
Yeah, Washington State. Yeah.
Is it Seattle or no?
I think it's Tacoma.
Okay, that might make more sense.
I think it's Tacoma, Washington, and they are having such a hard time. They're doing a 2-for-1 sale. So where like the tickets would be $500, you get 2 front row seats, or you can get. You can get 2 second row right behind the announce desk for $250. It's buy one get one free, or you can do a me plus 3 deal where you get 4 tickets for $350. And so they're
wow.
They're trying to get people in this show, and a lot of people are making it the story, comparing it to All Out selling 12,000 tickets in 30 minutes. This is not, that's apples to oranges. That All Out is like one of the big shows for AEW. Stomping Ground has 2 weeks of build. It is a C pay-per-view probably, but they're not selling tickets. But I think it's because their tickets are too expensive. They say you can get tickets for $25. Yeah, in the bathrooms.
It'll be, I bet you it will, once we get there, it will be, I don't want to say sold out, but it'll be pretty full. They're
going to do some movie magic, I think. I've seen it. I've seen it for Penn State basketball. They do it too. Games that are going to be on the Big Ten Network are going to be nationally televised. Mm-hmm. They will just section off parts that you can't see.
Sure.
And they just put everybody on one side.
Yeah, and camera block it. Exactly. You just make sure that the cameras can't see it.
So it's not like you're going to see a sea of chairs at this wrestling event, but they didn't sell very well. So yeah, I think it's a crap pay-per-view.
Yeah, the show is not building up well, I don't think. Plus, there hasn't been much time to build it. Let's start. Where do you want to start?
I looked at the official card on the website, WWE.com. I tried that today, and I just went from the bottom to the top.
All right, let's rock and roll.
All right, SmackDown tag titles on the line. As we found out last night, Heavy Machinery gets the opportunity against Daniel Bryan and Rowan.
I thought a highlight of the show last night was Daniel Bryan on commentary, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really think he does a good job being a heel because he's a heel who explains his actions, which we've talked about before with that Mick Foley thought process of, just being a heel to be a heel is bad. Being a heel with a reason to be a heel is good. And
his motivations aren't that heelish. Like, he just wants the planet to be better, but he's crazy.
I like how he was talking about how legitimately good athletes Heavy Machinery are, but they just choose to be jokes, which is maybe fair criticism.
That's a shoot.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thought process at the very least. Doesn't make me like him any less, but it gets the point across.
I think I'm going to get tired of the Chris Farley Van Down by the River routine by the one dude.
I'm not there yet, but I could see myself getting there if he doesn't keep it fresh.
Right.
I've got this actually was my hardest one to predict. This and one other one gave me a hard time.
Okay.
I don't see Daniel Bryan as a long-term tag team champion, but I see him beating Heavy Machinery this Sunday.
I agree that I don't think he's going to be a long-term tag champ for a while, but until they have something else for him to do, this is where they're going to keep him. And I think they also teased Rowan, Bryan, and Viking Warrior Experience Raiders War Time feud. I don't even know what their name is at this point.
I believe they are the Viking Raiders.
The Viking Raiders. Got it. I keep wanting to call it the Viking Experience. So I still think the Bryan and Rowan Experience will get a shot at the Viking Experience. And so because of that, Heavy Machinery will at some point be tag champs, but not this week. I have Rowan and Bryan as well.
Okay. I'm really hoping we get to some sort of spiciness in this predictions episode, but it could be like the Greatest Rumble in that it's just not meant to be, not in the cards this time.
Well, here's one that we could have gone either way on. You have Big E and Xavier Woods taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
This was the other one for me.
This was a tough one for me too.
Who do you have?
I will go first. WWE loves their 50-50 booking. And so that makes it tough because, Xavier Woods has been just kind of getting henchman jobbed for Kofi lately. And he took one clean it wasn't super clean against Dolph Ziggler last night, but Sammy and KO have just been getting beat around and they need to put a little heat back on those guys. I have Sammy and KO winning this one by hook or by crook. I think these two are going to be Big E and Xavier Woods. So,
yeah, with the 50-50 booking, you make a really good argument there. So here's where I'm at. You already have one person in the New Day who's got the big title, and you've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn who are sometimes team, sometimes not. I don't exactly know why I went this route, but actually we disagree, and I've got New Day winning.
Okay.
I think a lot of it has to do with a returning Big E. This would be his first match in a few months, right?
Yeah, and I like that they're putting him in a tag here.
Yeah,
because he is limited.
And like you mentioned, Big E. I'm sorry, Xavier just took one clean last night. Yeah, I think that as a tag team, there's not a lot to Kevin. Like, they don't need to protect them as a team, I feel like. Whereas they may need to better protect Big E and Xavier as a team. They
just beat the living crap out of KO and Sammy last night, though. They lost 2 falls in a row and the best 2 out of 3. So that's why I did it.
By the way, something really annoying about some of the booking lately. So we've had a few. Didn't we have a 2 out of 3 falls match on Raw too Was it this
Yeah.
week? So
yeah. Well, so why are we doing that twice in 1 week? You never have one, and now you have two.
Yeah, and then I hate when they give it a 2 out of 3 falls match, and in the opening seconds they have a fall. That's not that. I hate that.
By the way, you were right again. Even though R-Truth gave Drake Maverick one of these uppercuts, Drake Maverick won the championship, the 24/7 belt, with a roll-up.
With that same schoolboy that they do. It's like the only way that title can change hands. It drives me crazy. And that spot's getting used elsewhere on the show outside of the 24/7 title. They need to start limiting those.
Freshen it up, pals. Although I do, R-Truth now has a 24/7 shirt.
I did see that. I did see that. All right, what's next?
Next was the one I went back and forth on the most. Personally, I had a hard time with this. It's for the United States Championship, Samoa Joe versus Ricochet.
Man, this one gave me a hard time too. I would say this is probably my third one, and I'll tell you why. So the U.S. title is obviously in a weird place, and that I think they had Rey Mysterio being champion here. If everything would have gone well, but obviously it didn't. Rey got hurt. So now Joe's the champ. And I guess I have to ask myself is what's more important to them, having Joe as champ, or is Ricochet the guy who can kind of fill Rey's shoes with that little guy taking on the big guy, the David versus the Goliath kind of thing? And it's a tough call and really a coin flip. But that being said, oh man, now I'm feeling unconfident about this. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about my answer, but I mean, I have one. I have Joe.
You have Samoa Joe. Let me put it down there.
I'm not feeling good about it. So if you took Ricochet, you're not going to need a lot of convincing.
Listen, for me, the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title, for that matter, they've just been like floundering, and they've been dying. And I think that there needs to be a way to freshen it up. Now, this is a match that if Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler aren't wrestling in a cage later this evening, I would say this is going to be match of the night. Samoa Joe's style mixed with Ricochet's style. If given enough time, these two can tell a really good story and put on some good stuff. I feel like Ricochet he has a baby rocket tied to his back right now. Like, and I mean baby rocket because it's U.S. title. It's not like they're hot-shotting them for a main title yet. But I do think that they saw how they mishandled things with Neville, and they're not going to do it with Ricochet. And I think Ricochet is going to get his opportunity sooner than later, and I think this is going to be where he starts. So I have Ricochet winning the U.S. Championship.
Makes sense to me. Look at us. 2 disagreements already.
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now, next we have a triple threat match for another championship, the Cruiserweight Championship. Tony Nese defends against Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak. Gubba Gulak.
They don't refer to him as that anymore, do they?
No, Enzo said it once, and I loved it.
Oh, Enzo said it a bunch, but yeah, it definitely caught on. I feel like we should give this one as much time as they have, which is not much.
3, 2, 1.
Tony Nese. Tony Nese. I usually take the champion retaining, just to be safe.
That's what every time we always agree on the cruiserweights because we just picked the champ.
Yeah.
I almost wrote down Buddy Murphy again. I didn't know. Next is another tough one. You know, for as boring as this card kind of seems, they could go any way they want with all of this booking. I mean, here we have Roman Reigns in a WrestleMania rematch, but I'll say this. I'm more interested in this match now than I was for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns taking on Drew McIntyre.
I feel like we could disagree on this one too, because when it comes to Shane McMahon and his friends, you inject a lot more logic and what I'll call fantasy booking, in that you have been seeing successfully the bigger picture with all things Shane lately.
Yeah.
Which makes me think you could pick Drew.
Okay.
And I'm picking Roman Reigns again.
And why are you picking Roman this time?
I can't see. I know that he won at Mania. And I know that I feel like this is kind of a way to give Shane a loss without giving Shane a loss. On top of that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the plus I just don't see. I think that a loss Sunday could maybe damage Roman. Maybe. I mean, that would be he's losing to a lot of people here lately.
Right. But he's losing to a lot of people at once is what happened. In Saudi Arabia, he didn't lose to Shane McMahon. He lost to Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. And at Stomping Ground, he's going to be facing Drew McIntyre and probably Shane McMahon and maybe the Revival. And who knows about Elias? Like, you've got he's Shane McMahon is very inflated. Also, for me, and I thought a lot about what you were saying yesterday. What upset you about Raw was, Drew McIntyre made a comment about Roman Reigns and his children. So Roman goes back, puts Drew through the table, chases Shane to the ring to tell him to send Drew a message. The reason for that is Drew and Roman, that's not the big story here. That's not where they're going. It's Roman and Shane. Roman and Shane's the big one. That Roman and Shane's probably going to be SummerSlam. And we're going to get there by beating Roman down. And we're going to keep beating him. And he's going to keep fighting the odds. And he's going to keep booking Roman from underneath has actually made him more of a baby face. And it's working. And so for that reason,
that's definitely the philosophy with him.
Yeah, and it's working, and it's going to continue to go on. And Shane McMahon hasn't lost since before WrestleMania, and I see him being an extension of Drew McIntyre. Team McMahon is going to win again. I have Drew McIntyre winning this match.
So, just to play devil's advocate here, which again, that was kind of where I thought you might be going with that because you think bigger picture with all things Shane, and I get it. So, wouldn't having Roman, you said, because it's not going to be just Drew. It's going to be Drew. It's going to be Shane and possibly the Revival and who knows about Elias. I believe that's a direct quote.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if he overcomes those odds on Sunday, doesn't give Shane a loss, and keeps him strong for SummerSlam?
It's possible. I feel like more Roman beatdowns, more Roman losses are coming until we eventually get, and I don't want to lock in on it, but I do feel like we're very close to what could be Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon, Hell in a Cell at SummerSlam. Something like that. Something where it's just you and me, you son of a bee.
Okay. Hey, by the way, is Shane in charge of both shows? It sure seems he's not even a wild card at this point. He just shows up when he wants to. When did that happen?
I don't know. I liked the Miz's promo against him, though. That was a good promo, Sam.
Well,
it used to be the land of opportunity. Now you're hogging up all the airtime for you and your buddies.
I like Miz's shirt.
My mood.
And I guess what? No Miz to be found. No Intercontinental Championship to be found.
Who's there? Is Finn still the Intercontinental Champion, isn't he?
I think so.
Boy, that flip-flopped with the U.S. title for sure.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why when Brock Lesnar's name comes up with the champion, it's like, look, at any given time, there's one visible championship on every level. Like, for example, the Raw Tag Team Champions. When do we see them ever?
Well, listen, when everyone was really frustrated with Brock, it was when they weren't combining the pay-per-views and you were having a pay-per-view built around no championship. And I think that's when the frustration really started.
No, but you still had AJ on SmackDown.
But that was when they were doing Raw pay-per-view only, SmackDown pay-per-view only. That's when the frustration really happened. Then they combined the two brands for the pay-per-views, and by then people were just over Brock.
I'm with you.
I will concede that the way they're handling it now, it's very well booked. I mean, you have him. You've given an excuse for him to not show up because now he's not just not showing up; he's playing games, and he's still intertwined with the story there with Seth Rollins building to probably Survivor Series or something like that. So I mean, that's okay. Brock doesn't bother me as much now as he did before Money in the Bank. Him having the Money in the Bank briefcase actually makes sense.
Is it because he's here? What's changed that makes you say that?
The story is fresh.
Okay.
The way they're telling the Brock Lesnar story is fresh. Everything about Brock Lesnar up until that point was very stale. From his moveset to the matches to the results to the way that they were doing. It was just 1 month they were going to have a number one contender match in some way. The next month he was going to beat that person. And then the next month they were going to do it again. And the next month he was going to fight Roman Reigns. And it was just very boring. It's not boring right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like they stepped it up with the writing.
Where are we?
Okay, so out of 5 matches, we disagree on 1, 2, 3 of them.
I'm shocked, and I'm feeling like I'm going to be handing you the Lock of Destiny again. Well, you already have it, but I feel like you'll be retaining.
We'll see. I don't know. It could go either way on a lot of these. Bayley is going to defend the SmackDown Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss, a Raw member, with Nikki Cross in her corner.
So I did kind of have a thought on this.
Okay.
My thought is Nikki Cross will be the big difference maker here. And the question I have to ask myself is in what respect? And I think that because of Nikki Cross, whether it's intentional or unintentional, Bayley will leave with the title. That's the conclusion I came to.
Yeah, I definitely have Nikki Cross being, she's going to be a factor. I have Bayley winning it, and I have Alexa, having used Nikki and manipulated her to get her in her corner as an advantage, will turn on her like immediately, and that's the program for Nikki. I have the Bayley's bigger program is Charlotte. That's going to be happening at some point. But Alexa and Nikki will happen sooner than later. So, yeah, I have Bayley as well.
See, I see it going one of 2 ways, but both ways result in Bayley leaving with the title. It's either going to be Nikki doesn't turn and accidentally gets Alexa disqualified by attacking or whatever, or Bayley convinces Nikki to see the light that she's been manipulated by Alexa, and Alexa turns on and Nikki turns on Alexa.
But we both have...
Yeah, but we both have... Yeah.
Bayley. Okay. The next match we have is for the Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch, the man, taking on my girl, Lacey Evans.
Why don't you go here?
Get your ham dogs out.
Let me ask you a shoot question.
Sure.
Have you hit the ham to Lacey in real life?
No. I need more than just that.
Yeah, me too.
But she definitely heats me up. She gets me started.
I'm with you.
She puts the key in the ignition, but I just need more to hit the gas. That's all.
Jerry, your euphemism when it comes to masturbation jokes, I always tip my hat to you.
Thank you so much. Who said anything about masturbation?
All right, Jerry, hit the gas and tell us what you think is going to happen.
I mean, I'm just going to make it simple for everybody. I don't think Becky Lynch is losing her other belt now. The story for a year was her getting to the championship. She got rid of one of them so she can focus on the Raw one. She's not losing it to Lacey Evans. Becky Lynch is going to be champion for a while, and that involves this. So I have the man.
I also have the man. The only thing that makes it tough for me is that I do think they have big plans for Lacey. I read that McMahon loves her, Vince, and that they have big plans for her, which is why I took her. I took her in the WrestleMania Battle Royal. If you remember, she wasn't even in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had her beating Becky at what pay-per-view was it? Was it Money in the Bank?
Yep.
And then I almost put her again, but because she's Becky 1 belts now, I don't see. We lost you, by the way. I don't see her getting past.
My wife is calling right now, and
Okay.
I'm just waiting. I don't want to send her right to voicemail because then she'll know that I saw it. So.
Understood. So yeah, I'm gonna take Becky. If Becky had 2 belts, I'd say Lacey has a pretty good shot, but she doesn't. So I'm sticking with Becky, who for some reason she never strikes me as like really hot, but she got me again this week. Becky.
Yeah, Becky's looking good. I also think that they like having the 2 red belt champions being a couple. They're very public about Becky and Seth Rollins. They're not keeping that one secret at all.
You know what? That is funny that you mentioned it. Usually they're not so forthcoming about these things, but you're right. They have been with this.
They've got them giving each other nods in the hallway. I guess I saw some dark match stuff that happened after Raw. When Seth Rollins was, he ended the show by getting beat down by Baron Corbin. When he walked up the ramp as he was leaving the show, Becky Lynch's music hit, and she came out, and they had a moment on the stage just talking to each other, and then like she patted him on the back or rubbed his arm or whatever, and there was like a moment, and then he went away, and she kept on going down to the ring. So they're not hiding that at all.
I wonder if they're going to do something with that on TV, like make them a unit or something.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Oh, man. Mixed Match Challenge Season 3.
Oh, I would mind that. Never mind. I mind it. I mind it.
All right. What else do we have?
But if she's not with Sami Zayn, how can the ginger snaps need to continue?
I was trying to think of who she teamed with in that. It was Sami, wasn't it?
They were the ginger snaps.
Oh, God. Wrestling.
Yeah, that was before she was the man.
that was many lifetimes ago for Becky.
Oh, many moons. Okay, next you have Kofi Kingston defending the WWE Heavyweight Championship against Dolph Ziggler. It should have been me in a cage.
Yeah, I got Kofi.
Going to be a great match. The story has actually been told really well. They've made me really interested in it, but I don't think Dolph's back for a really long time, and it's not time. The WWE knows it's not time.
What do you mean by you don't think he's back for a long time?
I keep hearing that he's doing like his own like comedy tour, and like he's not a part-time guy, but he's not full-time active as much.
Okay, that's fair, I guess. I don't really see it affecting his wrestling schedule, but maybe. I don't know.
I'm not sure 100% on that, but I feel like this isn't it. I mean, there's just so many options still for Kofi Kingston. Interesting options. I mean, after he gets done with Dolph, there's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that's still very, very, very interesting. There's a lot of stuff he could end up doing with even getting involved with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre and that kind of stuff. Like, they're not done with Kofi Kingston for a while.
Imagine if someone walked into our Royal Rumble predictions episode from this year and like showed us this conversation that we're having about Kofi freaking Kingston, about being a great champion that they're not done with and that they have big plans. Like, we would be like, who are you? Like, take this. This is fantasy booking at its worst. Get out of here. But this has really been working. It was unplanned. It was the fans chose this. This has been great.
A year before Kofi Kingston wins the WWE Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, he and the New Day are the hosts of WrestleMania. Like, he didn't even have a match.
Yeah, Jerry, I mean, you're right. It's crazy to think about.
But I do think that Kofi wins this match. We both agree that Kofi's going to be champ for a while because he's not blowing it. I mean, he's grown into it. And I think the most interesting thing is when the New Day finally turns on him.
Yeah, it's going to be something, man.
That's when we...
Dude... Can you imagine if a different member of New Day beats him for his world title?
I know.
It'll come unglued.
Everyone keeps talking about the Big E turn, and I'm telling you, I'm calling it. It's going to be Woods.
Okay. I don't really.
More.
Yeah, I think that I think that, man, I think that Big E is the easy choice, but if I had to lock in on one now, I'm still saying Big E would be the one to turn.
Remember when the Shield broke up? No one was ever talking about Seth Rollins as much.
Jerry, you're not wrong.
Seth Rollins was Shield member number 3, and then he immediately became Seth freaking Rollins, and had arguably one of the best WWE title runs ever.
No one saw that one coming either. You're right.
Yeah, that was good. So there it is. And then the main event, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. You've got Seth freaking Rollins, who deserves to be in the main event of a pay-per-view. He can handle it. Holy smokes, Baron Corbin. And they wonder why tickets aren't selling.
Me plus 3, folks.
Me plus 3. 350.
All right.
The flight to Tacoma will end up costing more than the tickets at front row.
For 4 of them.
For 4 of you.
Man. Okay, Jer. I can give you mine if you want.
All right, let's hear it.
I have Seth. I would say I have Seth beating Corbin. I have Seth leaving with the title. I think probably referee Brock, but I'm not positive. I think we see Brock in some capacity, whether it be a cash-in or as referee or both. And that's what I got for you.
Okay, so you're going to say, not that we need a tiebreak at this point, that Rollins wins it. Rollins leaves with the championship no matter what?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I'm going to say that too. And you have Brock Lesnar as the ref?
Again, I have Brock being there, and if I have to pick a ref right now, gun to my head, I'm picking Brock. Okay,
so I have Seth Rollins for the same reasons, because it's Baron Corbin. What's been the threat? The threat has been, if you referee this match, you're going to have to deal with me, Seth Rollins, and I'm going to beat you with a chair, and I'm going to beat you up, and I'm going to smack you around. He beat Brock Lesnar silly with that chair. He beat EC3 and blah, 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 and I could name them, Elias, all of them.
The B team.
The B team took one. Laid it in on him.
Eric Young. Of all people.
Who's the most untouchable person right now on SmackDown and Raw?
The most untouchable person on SmackDown and Raw? I mean, nothing's jumping out at me.
Who's feuding with Seth Rollins' best friend?
Shane?
Shane McMahon. Shane's not doing anything that night. You watch Shane McMahon come out and be like, I'll be the ref. He's the boss. He's the boss who's going to stop him. And he's going to have the Revival and Drew McIntyre with him, and they're going to have and they're going to have just beat the living hell out of Roman Reigns.
Well, sure.
He's part of the mid-card of evil. Baron Corbin, Elias, Drew McIntyre, the Revival, Shane, they're all part of the mid-card of evil.
Listen, Drew and I'm not sure we might need to change that name. Drew and Shane are main eventers, pal.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's damn true. But you can't change the name when Baron Corbin's in it still.
Elias as well.
Oh,
Jer, you bring some interesting points to the table, my friend, as you always do.
Well, here we go. We've disagreed on three of the matches.
All right. Well, before we run down,
yeah,
what, if anything, happens with Brock in your mind?
I don't know. I mean, he could show up. I think that his music could hit. Paul Heyman could show up and say, not this time. Not yet. No, not yet.
So you don't see Brock getting involved?
I think that they're going to be involved in the way that they've been involved. I think that Paul Heyman's going to show up. I mean, he was at the end of SmackDown, for God's sakes. Like, they're going to be reminding us of the briefcase the whole time. But I don't think he's going to be the special guest referee. In fact, I think they're going to tease it by playing his music when it's time for the ref, and Paul Heyman's going to come out and say he's not here tonight, or he's not doing that. That's beneath him. He's not going to be your referee.
Jer,
And then Shane comes out.
like I said earlier, I think that you might be retaining that Lock of Destiny. And another problem in my booking is, and I was aware of this, I didn't want to spoil it like I did last time, but I don't think I have any title changes.
I have one title change, and that's another reason I went with Ricochet, but I didn't want to say that and give it away for the rest of the time through.
That was one reason why I wanted to go with Ricochet too. So interesting stuff, Jer. Interesting stuff. I'm wondering where the post-to-post universe stands on this.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear their thoughts on all of it and where they stand on the referee issue. I want to hear the referee predictions.
Yeah, because there's a lot of potential for that to become interesting.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Jer, anything you want to throw in before I...
Eat meat.
That's the final word?
Eat meat, beat meat, whatever you want to do. Just don't be a vegetarian.
The immortal words of Jerry Valeri. we'll eat meat.
Get those ham dogs out.